Alright, it's turn 26. We're going to get a lot of messages. Some of them are not going to be happy. Conjuration. Found a magic site. None were found. Okay. Okay. Actually, it doesn't look so bad so far. Let's see what happens. Excuse me. Alright. Bolt Thrower has found a magic site. Enchanted Windmill. Okay. Theok found nothing. That's too bad. Battle in Stone Heavens. Okay, that's going to be against the Barbarians. Alright. Lots of arrows. Oh my god. Horde of skeletons. That is also a bad thing. Okay, Tortuga is a problem. Tortuga is... I don't need to worry about him taking on Asphodel, I think. Wow, what a nasty army. Yikes. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, let's take a look at his, whoops. Well, let's take a look at all the battles here, and then we'll go back and take a look at Tortuga real quick. Okay. Taking some hits from the arrows. Popped my glamour. Oh, he's cursed too. That's not good. He took a wound. Alright guys, go. Phantasmal Warrior is not the spell I want you to be casting. Ooh, more glamour pops. Okay. Alright, good. Are these guys longbowmen? That's the problem. Yeah, that's why I'm taking damage from him. Stinking longbowmen. Okay. Well, that hurt a little bit. We lost one van. Okay. Let's go ahead, like I said, let's take a look at Tortuga-san real quick. Okay, there he is. Rolf Magnus, the captain. Okay. And fire that can be used instead of fire gems. Okay. He's got a lot of fire gems. Fire and death magic. 8 and 4. Alright. And he's got high level, I think enchantment is, I'm pretty sure that it's enchantment that makes, what am I looking for? Horde of Skeletons. Okay, 52 hit points. Okay, Dominion penalty, so he's in his unfriendly Dominion. Good. Protection 17, not a problem. Strength 19, that's pretty dang high. He's got no other items equipped exactly. Yeah, we could handle him. Between him and Fafnir, Fafnir will eat him up. Okay. That's mainly what I was interested in taking a look at. Oh, who's this guy over here? Yukinaga the Prophet. Also immortal. Yikes. That's... How do you get him to be immortal? Dai Bakumono. He's a hero. Yamafuni. Yeah. Oh man, he's got an immortal hero. Well, why couldn't Bruce Jenner be immortal? Huh? That's what I want to know. I mean, he kind of is, isn't he? Alright. That's all we need to take a look at there. So he's got 2 immortal units, both his Prophet and his Pretender. That is savagely bad. Alright. Bergamum. Let's see how we do over here. We got him. We caught his army. Okay, Bergamum. Sentinels, 17. Alright. Attentive Statues, that's probably just Province Defense. Ancient Stone Hurlers. Okay. And 42 Shard Guards. Alright. So we know what the deal is there. Okay. Solemn, Bergamum, Mountains of Madness. Okay, this should be a Raffle Stomp. Ah, these arrows, man, they are a problem for my vans. As long as you guys don't get, yeah, you got a weakened, okay. Why are you so slow? It's because you're not blessed yet. Okay. Okay, good. Alright. And that was Mountains of Madness. Still losing a van. Really? Come on, guys. That's terrible. Obelshin. Let's see how this one went. Okay, archers again. He got popped. Nope, not you. Yikes. Okay, come on, guys. Where's my leader? Is it you? No? There he is. Cast lightning, okay. Zarya's evil twin. Wow, that hurt. Kind of a waste to use it on province defense, but so be it. Alright. Scout. That was Bergamum. We are looking now at Mountains of Madness. No, we already looked at Mountains of Madness. Yeah, Obelshin. Okay, we didn't lose anybody there. Alright, Golem Range. This is going to be the trickier one. I think this is my smallest group. Oh, but it's only these guys. Precision 10. Well, there's enough of them that can still pop the glamour. I think they did, too. One of these guys. Alright. I think they got the first strike, too. That's not good. You hurt? No, just badly injured. You are also okay. How about you? Nope, still fine. Gotta figure out how to script those guys to stop using Phantasmal Warriors. Okay. And then Bethin. Let's see if we caught his army here, too. We did, but this is just province defense. Okay. Unexpected event in the Deadlands. Black Steel Kite Shield. Nice. Money, money, money. Thank you. Alright, worldwide event. Power of the Throne of Fortune is spreading. More worldwide luck. Not happy about that going to my enemies. And we've got 10 filthy brigands are killed. Killed. Alright, so what did we take? Okay. Man, this army is nasty. I don't know if we can do it. Olm's gonna have to get his stuff together. He can beat this army, but I don't know about this one. Ugh. So. And up here, so what did we take? Not that much income. Obelshin was not bad. But, ugh, yeah. Well, this is what I was talking about, like, Peep's gotta get on Agartha or else he's gonna run away with the game. He's taken no casualties this whole time, so... Alright, supply usage. Why do we have corpses over here? Okay. Well, that's the state of the things as... That's the state of things as they are right now. And... over here, quite well organized. Yeah. We can just keep harassing, Agartha, but that's about all I can do. And Olm is gonna have to be punching up. And then me and him, both of us, are gonna be losing a lot of troops against this mess of nastiness. But look, even more of these fire dudes, magma children. Yeah, it's ugly. It's looking bad. But let's see what we can do. Looks like Daz is going to claim that throne. Okay. I don't have a scout over here, do I? No, dang it, I wish I did. See, like, come on, Daz, what are you doing over here? Oh, he's got a neutral uprising here. Jeez. This is why it's not going well over here with Asphodels, because you've got your troops all doing goofy stuff. So, anyway, well, that's the opening, and I will see you in a bit once we know what our move is. Alright, here is going to be the turn for turn 26 that I've submitted to the server at the last moment. So, let's jump into things, shall we? We have Ulm over here, and I'm going to talk about their situation, and I'm going to talk about Agartha. Ulm has got his armies in disparate provinces. He's got his researchers over here in Chilad, and he's got these chaff units here in Nidian Range, and he's got some units in the Sinks, and I think in Might Marsh. And we both communicated and agreed that he needs to consolidate his army in order to deal with Agartha before he does anything else. I think it was a little bit, I don't know, it's hindsight's 20/20, but I think it was a bad idea for him to split his forces up because I need him. And I need him to help me out. And so he's going to be consolidating here in Might Marsh, except that I think he will not move his researchers from Chilad, which is unfortunate because I would prefer personally that he postpone his research in order to get his army all put together to try to deal with the Agarthan menace that's coming our way. But he wants to get his research done, and that's understandable. But anyway, now let's talk about Agartha. I believe that Agartha's move, his best move, and the move that I would make if I were Agartha, is to consolidate these armies as well. And where to consolidate them, I would put them in Juek. So I think Agartha is going to be attacking me here in Juek. And I will get a scouting report, a detailed battle report, so I'll know exactly how much stuff he has here. And from Juek, I think what he's going to want to do is I think he's going to want to go ahead and just go for a main. I think if I were Agartha, I would keep my eye on... I would keep my focus on taking down my opponent's power centers. And this doesn't have a lot of income, but it does have the Throne of Water, and if he can take that from me, it will put my Sacreds in a worse position, because I'll lose that Sacred bonus. It'll take away a research center, it'll take away, well, it'll take a lot of things away from me. So I think that's what Agartha is probably thinking about doing. And now, I need to know what to do about that siege. So, first of all, I'm preparing for the siege. So I've got Theok over here building a supply storage, and that'll be done in 1 month. And I'll have one more turn in which I can build another item onto the fortress, onto the fortification. And I don't know if I think the underground supply takes 200, or it takes 2 turns, and so I don't think that'll make it in time. So I'll maybe build a gatehouse or something. I don't know. What I am planning on, though, is I'm planning on having to break the siege, because Agartha can siege and doesn't have to eat, and I will, in the meantime, begin starving. So, unless Ulm can do damage to Agartha in the meantime that, gives some other urgency to his situation, he can stay here forever. And I do have units in here, but a lot of them... Well, not a lot of them, but he won't be able to see my Vans, and he won't be able to see my Valkyries. And I'm really hoping that the Valkyries will provide an element of surprise when I finally engage him. These archers, I have to admit, I don't think they're good for the upcoming battle. So let's talk about the upcoming battle before I continue with the rest of this turn, because that's really been the thing that's been the hardest for me to deal with, is how to deal with the Agarthan army. Now, I have to be honest, I'm not as frightened of the Magma Children yet as I am of the Sentinels and the Shard Guards, mainly though the Sentinels. And so if we go ahead and take a look at the Sentinels again, let's go ahead and take a look here at Bergamum. So this is the battle where we see them engaging. Okay. So, he doesn't have a lot. It may not seem like he has a lot, but the thing is they have 27 protection. They are almost completely invulnerable to attack, to my attacks, because they are also slash resistant and pierce resistant. So I'm going to have to roll very, very high damage to hit these guys and do any damage at all. And on top of that, they're regenerating. So they've got 39 hit points, and they're going to regenerate like probably 4 hit points. So, if I do penetrate their armor, the damage is going to be so low that, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hurt these guys at all. I don't have a spell to deal with magic beings. Olm does. He has the iron darts, which do extra damage to magic beings. What I do have, though, and I'll go into that, is these guys are inanimate. Where is that? It's lifeless, is that right? Unaffected by those spells, but I'm sure that this guy is also inanimate. I think that's like the same as like elementals and stuff like that, which means I do have an item I can forge that will deal with them. Now, the problem is that he's putting these guys up front, so all of my infantry troops are going to run forward and, you know, break their weapons fighting against these guys. Oh, the other problem with these guys, too, is you notice they don't have any armor. So rust spells, things like that, are not going to be very effective against them. With the Shard Guards, on the other hand, if you look at their scale mail hauberks, they're made of iron, and they're also where the protection is coming from, so I can affect this armor with certain spells. And the other thing to note down here, too, ignore these guys because they're just province defense. These ancient stone hurlers, I didn't realize these guys were also sacred, and so it's going to take a lot of damage to take these guys down, and protection 14 is good. So yeah, that's an issue. And then, of course, we have his commander. Now, this is the good news, is his commander, even though he has 46 hit points and is, you know, well tough, a very tough unit, there's only the one in this army. So if I could do it right, I could probably kill his commander and then rout the rest of his forces. And that's one tactic that I'm going to be investigating for this upcoming battle. Now, of course, the problem with that is that, let's go ahead and leave the battle replay, is he will have 2 more of those commanders when he merges these armies. And who knows if he has like Birdie Bot or just, you know, like some regular chaff commanders in there as well. And that'll throw a monkey wrench into any kind of commander assassination. I shouldn't say assassination because that's an actual game mechanic, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in battle trying to kill his commander. And so, you know, there's a big difference between having one commander that if he dies, the whole army routes, and having, you know, like I have over here, you know, like I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you know, I'm going to have 8 guys over here. You know, that's a big difference. Like, he can't do something like target large enemy monsters and then kill my one guy and then have my army rout. But I can do that to him. So that's one thing I'm thinking about trying to do. The other problem is how am I going to deal with those ancient stone hurlers? So you'll note that I don't really have anybody who can do... I don't have anybody who does blunt damage, except maybe the... No, I don't think even this is... Right? That's slash damage. I don't have anything that does blunt damage. Maybe this guy. He has a hammer. So it's pierce damage and blunt damage. I don't know how that calculates, but anyway. And obviously he is not a melee troop. So yeah, he's set up very good to defeat me. And that's why I think Agartha is going to focus on attacking me and not Olm. The best guy I have is high damage skin shifters. So he does 21 points of slashing damage, which is going to get reduced by half, but still, it's 21 damage, so, you know, it'll work good against the Shard Guards also, obviously. So these guys would be a potentially viable force to attack with, but the problem is they're so expensive, and I just think they're going to get run over, frankly. He doesn't have enough defense skill, I think, to deal with the Sentinels, because the Sentinels have good... That's the other problem, too, is they not only are they really tough, but they also have, well, high strength, and they also have really good attack. Like, they have higher attack than this guy's defense, I believe. Like, attack 11 or 12, that's too big of a disparity. Like, it's going to be bad. So really, for the Sentinels, I need to rely on blunt damage, which I don't have, or I need to rely on magic. And that's where we're going with this. So... Obviously, I'm moving Ragnar Stormborn in here, and he'll be doing his thing. Obviously, Thunderstrike will be a good thing to use if if I can muster enough Thunderstrikes. That's the problem. Sorry, I wanted to look at research here. So let's talk about the research real quick, because this is key to my tactics. So we're going to be finishing up level 2, which is going to give us summon storm power. And from there, I'm really hoping that I can get to evocation. It's going to be tough. I don't know if I can do it in time. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to storm or not. But if I can get to Storm before I try to attack his forces, that will help. It'll give me Orb Lightning that my my Van Hearses, I should say, that they can cast finally instead of Phantasmal Warrior, please. And then again, like I said, Storm is going to allow me to take advantage of Storm power. It will also, in future battles, deal with projectile weapons, but at the moment, Storm also has some drawbacks for me in that, one, I have a lot of crossbowmen, and Storm will kind of nerf them a little bit. But at least with the crossbowmen, they have a good alpha strike. But I don't think I have enough alpha strike from the, or I should say, like that first volley. Like they fire once every 2 turns, and so that very first volley is the one that really kind of counts. And dealing with the Agarthan army, I have a few options for trying to take on his commanders. One, I could set my crossbowmen to fire at large enemy monsters, and that would hopefully wear down and eventually kill his, with enough arrows or crossbow bolts, it would hopefully be enough to wear down and or kill the majority of his ancient stone hurlers or his Oracle of the Ancients, but that's kind of questionable. I don't think they're going to be able to do it all by themselves, right? But that's one option we have. But the thing is if I cast Storm, Storm is going to make that less effective, the archery. The other problem too is that I have my Valkyries, and this is kind of what I am hoping might work out, even though it didn't work very well for me in the last game I played with Daz. But I could set my Valkyries to hold and attack large monsters, or hold and attack rear, or I could just have them go in. That's what I would really actually do, is just have them instantly go in, attack, for example, rearmost enemies. And so the problem with Storm is that it'll shut down their flying. So how would I work with both Valkyries and Storm? Well, I would have to hold back casting Storm on the first turn and give my Valkyries a chance to fly into the back, into either the rear, or fly towards the large enemy monsters. And so they're going to have one turn of, that alpha strike, or I mean that initial charge attack. And that might be enough to work. That might be the way to do it. But the problem is I'm missing out on one turn of spell scripting with Storm. Like I can't cast summon Storm power until after the Storm has been cast. And if you look over here, unfortunately, I think the spell orders go down the line as you see the units appearing here. So the first turn, these guys are going to cast spells. Bolt Thrower here, he cannot cast Summon Storm, because if he does, that will then impede the Valkyries on their first move. And then these guys will go down and cast their spells. And then we have turn 2. The Valkyries have moved in to whatever position they were sent to. Then again, these guys are going to go first. So they still can't cast Summon Storm power because Bolt Thrower hasn't summoned Storm power yet. So unless I find a way to get a Vanadrot at the top of this list, which, you can't do, you can't reposition guys, then that's really a sacrifice, because I need these guys to be doing the lightning bolts and get on it quickly, and I'm going to run out of scripting. I can only script for like 5 spells, and then I'm going to rely on the AI to be like, hey, let's cast lightning bolts, instead of, hey, let's cast Phantasmal Warrior. So that's the only thing I'm kind of worried about. And, same thing with my Vanadrots. It's like, well, let's cast Thunderstrike, please, and get that out as much as possible. But I don't know how I'm going to deal with it. I'm still thinking. The other thing with our research, the other spells I have, and what's really regrettable is I haven't gotten any of these guys with fire magic. And I think I did the math, and it's like there was only a 17% chance of recruiting this many dwarves and still not getting fire magic. But what that means is I'm looking at potentially imbuing Fafnir with fire magic. And the reason for that is this. If we go back to Evocation and look at the spells we have, Geyser I'm not so interested in, but maybe. It's fire damage, magic damage, range 15 plus, armor piercing. So that's good. It's a decent armor piercing spell. That's one reason to get that. Another one would be acid spray. Acid bolt. Acid spray is like a close range spell. Acid Bolt, which it's a water spell, so it wouldn't cost very much fatigue, and the damage is increased per level of the caster, so it'll have high damage, high range, normal, precision 3, and then it has an area effect rust. Now, against the statues, that won't do anything. Against the shard guards, that will be effective. And then, of course, again, the acid damage, it's not going to be that great against the statues. It's just going to do normal damage, but I think their protection will still mitigate it. So yeah, Acid Bolt, these acid spells are really more good against the shard guards. So Acid Bolt, and then of course we also have Acid Rain. And now the good thing about this one is it's at least armor piercing. So this one could do some little bit of damage, but you know, those statues have like over 20 protection. So, you know, armor piercing, just what does it do? It halves the amount of the opponent's armor, but that's still going to be over 12 points of armor. So even with the armor piercing, this isn't likely to do very much damage. Again, it's only about the area rust if I can make it work against the shard guards. What I can use against the statues, however, I think, is magma bolts. And if you'll recall, this is why I'm disappointed I don't have any dwarves with fire imbued, because then they could also cast this. But if I imbue Fafnir with fire magic, all of a sudden he can start casting this spell. Now, again, it's not armor piercing, but I can get over 25 points of damage if Fafnir uses it, and that will start to hit and hurt those sentinels. The extra effect burning, it's nice, but it's probably not going to be that helpful because we're in a cold environment, and that's why also I'm not sure how much to worry about the Magma Children just yet. Like, I don't think they're as scary as the Sentinels because they will be fighting me in a cold climate, and then of course I'll cast Rain. If actual rain came down, that would be great, but it's probably going to be snow. The other thing too is I would love it if I could get some water elementals, but the problem is that the temperature is cold, so instead of getting armor negating, or I think it's armor negating or armor piercing attacks from the water elementals, I'm going to get ice elementals, which are substantially worse for the task at hand. They don't have the armor piercing or armor negating attacks. So that's bad. The other thing is, of course, using lightning. So, obviously I need to get more of my Van Herses. So we're going to try to spam some of those coming up. I'm getting the Vanadrot first, so he will come in, and the reason for that is because the Thunderstrike really will be useful. And in the end, who knows, I may change my mind and not try to do the Valkyrie thing, but may just go full in and try to Lightning Bolt his army down. I have no idea. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. But we need the options, and like I said, the Valkyries at least will be good defenders of this castle. And I don't want to give up on the idea of using them as an attack rear and attack largest monsters to see if I can take down his army. We'll find out. We'll know better what to do once we see what his army setup is when he comes into this province. We'll at least know how many commanders he has, what his... He's smart enough that I know he'll change his army position before he comes and sieges this castle, but we'll still know kind of in general how he's going to do it. And, you know, obviously I expect the Sentinels to be in the front line. And, you know, who knows, maybe I should have my Valkyries just attack the front line. I kind of doubt it, though. I really think I should take advantage of their flying ability to surround opponents. And they can go in and attack the rear and so forth. And again, I don't know what to do yet about the Magma Children, except I'm just not as afraid of them as I am the Shard Guards and the... well, not the Shard Guards, I should say, but the Sentinels. Okay, what else can I do about the Sentinels? Well, I can prepare a Thug to go against them, and so I'm forging also a Smasher. And let's take a look at that. So here's the Smasher. It does blunt damage plus 10, so strength plus 10 is the damage, which for most of my units is going to be about 20 or so. And that's enough that I'll get a few... If I get a few good hits, it'll damage the statues. And then what's important is it has this extra effect on hit, which is Shatter, which is armor negating. Exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for armor negating attacks. Only damages inanimate beings. Well, that's bad. But the thing is like I said, those Sentinels are inanimate beings, and I think the Magma Children are as well. But anyway, that's great. And then Strength of Wielder not added. Well, it's 20 damage, so that's understandable. It is a great weapon against mechanical constructs and certain undead beings. So we're going to make one of those first, and if we can, we'll give it to Zarya. And the reason for that is because Zarya has high protection, so he can kind of maybe, hopefully, survive a few hits from those sentinels. Like, yeah, protection 18 plus protection 16 from his shield. Hopefully he can withstand and survive on the front line a little bit. Really high attack skill, really high defense skill, although most of this defense skill is going in towards the shield. And if I get him over here into a main, he's going to have even more protection and more parry and less base defense from using, like, for example, this black kite shield, which means he's going to get more hits on his shield and armor than he will actually dodging attacks. But Zarya is my best hope for trying to take on these sentinels until, of course, Zarya runs out of fatigue. That's the other huge problem with these sentinels, is they will not run out of fatigue, and my troops will. So, again, I think Marcus has the perfect army for destroying me. Other than, you know, if I can hopefully get lightning to work. I am going ahead and forging a ring of water over here, and I'm going to put that, and maybe I can move a guy in. It'll be good to have. For the sacrifice in research, I think it'll be good to have. And mainly the reason for that is that when I break the siege over here, I have some options, which is what I should talk about next, is how I'm going to deal with this siege. I'm going to save some of it for the next turn, because a lot of it may change. If Agartha doesn't move in here, then things change. But the one good thing I have is my sailing ability, which means all my commanders and troops that I continue to recruit here in Vanheim can basically attack this province on the same turn that these guys break the siege. So what's important is that I make sure I have enough troops in here that they can keep the walls repaired for some time while Agartha bashes them down. They have enough supplies to also last, and hopefully I can buy some time to get my research up and going. Let's see, at 150, that's going to take me, I think, well, basically it's going to take me 5, 6, 7 turns to get evocation. Let's think about it. If it was 600, then it would take 3 turns. 1 turn is 150, 2 turns is 300, 4 turns is 450, 4th turn is 600. So yeah, we're looking at 5 turns of that I'm going to need to hold out and get evocation. And of course, another problem is that in those 5 turns, Agartha will be reinforcing and doing his own research. So let's talk about Ulm. Here's what I wish Ulm would do. I wish Ulm would go everything into Might Marsh. Unfortunately, he's not going to. He's not going to take his researchers out of Chilad. And those guys are extremely important with their iron darts for taking on Agartha's units. But then what I wish he would do is move everybody into Might Marsh, and then I wish he would move into Tiosh. And at that point, so these guys will be here, he will be here, they will siege this castle, he will be in Tiosh, and then the next thing I want him to do is move into this province. Now, if Agartha again did what I think it will do, it will have control of these 3 provinces, it will be sieging this castle, and then I can try to break the siege on that turn the same time that Ulm moves into Juek, which is the only route Agartha has to move back into friendly territory. And if I can rout his army, even if I take really heavy losses, which I will, if Ulm then follows up and moves in here, we will destroy his army. Like, almost guaranteed destroy his army. And the reason for that is, I believe, if I understand correctly, Ulm would capture this province, I would drive Agartha out of this province, and then the retreat would take place. And the retreat, at the time that he has to retreat, he won't have a friendly province to retreat to, and it'll destroy that whole army. And that would be worth the sacrifice. Even, potentially, I might even lose Fafnir, which would be horrible, but probably doubtful since I have such high dominion here. And that would really win us the war against Agartha. But Ulm doesn't see it that way. Ulm wants to continue researching here, and then after that, he wants to move into the Nidian range and then beeline for Bithin. The other thing about moving into Juek is that whether he moves into Bergamum or Juek, the next move is to go to Bithin. So it's like, even if he moved into Juek and we, for some reason, decided not to break the siege, it's not like he would move. It's not like he would lose any turns of movement. He would just move from Juek to Bithin anyway. It's just that we could kill 2 birds with 1 stone if we did it this way, and it's quite a big bird that I want to kill. And Ulm has a big rock. So anyway, if he moves into Bergamum, into Nidian range instead of Tiash, obviously from Nidian range you can't move to Juek, so that does me no good. But he wants to move into Nidian range because he can research here, and then he can combine those 2 armies, consolidate them here in order to get some research, and then he'll move into Bergamum and then up to Bithin. And you know, we'll see. That would at least cut off Agartha's reinforcements, but yeah, I'll see. I might be able to do something like, once Agartha moves into this province, I could maybe use a strike force and capture this province, and then all of a sudden Agartha has to look at the idea of, you know, basically being surrounded by Vanheim while he sieges this fortress, and that might alone be enough to spook him. The bad thing is what Agartha could also do is move into the ocean, and his army can do that. Like, the majority of it can. I don't think the Magma Children will be able to, but he might just cut his losses and take on a scorched earth policy, and that would really suck because these have good income. These are some of my best income provinces. And then also, once he gets into the ocean, there's nothing I can do to kick him out. Okay? Another thing we can do with evocation level 5 is I've talked a lot about imbuing Fafnir with fire, but the other thing I can do is I can hold off and try to imbue him with astral, and that will give me access to gifts from heaven. This will destroy those sentinels, guaranteed, if it hits. Number of effects is 3, obviously that's too bad. Very costly spell to cast, and only Fafnir would be able to cast it, but whatever these hit, they will destroy. And yeah, that's an option. That's an option. I might be better off spamming, I think, magma bolts. Even though they're lower damage, well, fatigue costs 20 versus fatigue costs 50. But the thing is, this guaranteed costs me about 50. Well, Fafnir has 4 earth, so he could probably do that. He would do it for a little less than 50. But the magma bolts, they're Earth 1, which means I'd get a significant discount onto the fatigue cost, which means he could cast that quite a bit. So that's what I'm looking at. I looked at a lot of other options for research, you know, like alteration, to get, you know, like protection, and like, I don't know, mist form. The other ones would, I can't remember which ones. Maybe it wasn't alteration that I was so keen on. But enchantment would give me, seeking arrows wouldn't be very effective, but I could get Clayman. I could start building a bunch of Clayman. Strength of Giants would increase strength, which obviously makes damage more likely. I was looking at all of these, but I think in the end I'm going to try to go for evocation and stick with the storm idea. But that's what I'm looking at right now. So that has covered, I think, almost everything I have to say about the situation here, which has been what's occupied the vast majority of my mental space lately. So let's talk about my other movements. All right, Sulpicius is moving into here to just try to catch the army and find out what their composition is, just in case Agartha moves in a way that I'm not expecting. Bert is moving into Deadlands. If I have a chance, I'll get him moved into a main, just because why not? You know, he's an extra commander, and I might be able to do some maintenance with him. Like, I wish he was already here in a main, so he could be doing this stuff like build supply, and I wouldn't be taking away a researcher from it. And then obviously I'm moving my scout in here as well. I am moving Zarya's evil twin back over here into Ephisibor, and that is basically so that he can pick up these units that I'm recruiting. So yeah, pick up all these units, and then he will probably sail back down to Vanheim. And let's see. If he doesn't, I may have him prepared to take back provinces if, you know, like I said, if Agartha is foolish enough to split up his forces and I judge that I can take down his forces, then I will. Up here, we are not doing any attacking. We are sneaking our units further into Agartha's territory. If I can, I will try to capture White Peaks. It'll be interesting to see if Agartha delays moving this army and tries to take back this province, or if he tries to take it back with these guys down here, anything I can do to distract him will be a welcome move from him. It will slow down anything that keeps some of his troops from coming this direction. If he's smart, I think he's going to continue focusing on moving these guys in and just try to beat out my raiders through attrition. Over here, I contacted Dwarf Comic and asked him to let me attack Jibero. And he was like, yeah, cool, dude. And I told him, like, oh, I don't want to attack it if you're going to attack it, so I just want to make sure. And, you know, I was being very disingenuous, and I don't know if he knows that, but the reason for that is I want to find out if he and Agartha are still in cahoots, because they had their peace treaty, I think, expire this turn as well. And so when I move these guys in here, if Agartha also moves his army in here, well, that's going to be pretty solid evidence that Agartha and Asphodel are still kind of working together. And that will just be useful information to know. I want to know where Dwarf Comic stands, and I don't trust him enough to ask him directly. So I've fed him some misinformation. And then these guys, like I said, they're moving in here. And I'm not going to be attacking, let's see, I'm not attacking, I was about to say Asphodel, I'm not attacking Agartha with my raiders this turn, because I'm hoping it will put some uncertainty into him as to what I'm doing. And then I will also then be in a position where I can attack White Peaks next with a bit stronger army, and that's definitely what I want to do. Like I said, Gandalf will be here in Agartha. Hopefully he doesn't get discovered, because that would suck. And then I can just have all of these guys attack White Peaks if I think that's the right move. And then from there, we can try to move into Muspel and the Troll Land, yeah. And, you know, Agartha, if he wants to, he can try to chase down and set up traps for these armies. I'm not gonna lie. Some of those traps are gonna go off. But in the end, it still might be better to have him run around with armies here that are not reinforcing his front line as Ulm makes his way forward. I'm not happy about Ulm capturing Bithin, but I got to take what I can get, and basically I just want to get Agartha beaten down and out of the game. Want to move the game forward, so one way or the other, if... you know, a lot of you guys may think I've made a mistake picking this war with Agartha, since Agartha will definitely seek my destruction. And, you know, from an in-game perspective, yes, I agree, and I don't want to be destroyed, obviously, but I also want to see the game progress. So, yeah, you know, if that's what happens, that's what happens. Well played, and, you know, we'll look back on it later, and we'll look back on it and laugh later. But I do want us to get the game going. So somebody's got to die, basically. And, you know, I want it to be Agartha that me and Ulm kill, but if Agartha ends up taking me out of the game, well, such is life. It had to happen sometime. All right, let's see. Talking about some other stuff, all of us are starving for fire gems. So if I do my fire imbue, that is going to take a bunch of my income of gems here. And the reason is because I'm going to have to commit alchemy and do like 4 gems to 1. And I calculated it out, and I have barely enough. With what you see here, I have barely enough to get to 50 fire gems. Maybe not quite 50, because I've decided then to spend some gems on some magic items. But I will have enough. I will have enough, but it may take everything I've got. I sent a message to Tortuga, who hasn't replied to me yet, about trying to get some fire gems from him. Daz can't afford any fire gems and is looking for fire gems. I kind of hope that Daz Tactic over here claims this throne and does a site search, because I want to find out what this throne is. If this is a 2-point throne, things get better for me. I want to know that. But I think this is probably the Throne of War, or not the Throne of War, the Throne of Fire, because Tortuga hasn't captured it yet. Whereas Daz was able to take this out. I think this is a level 1 throne. Obviously Daz is under siege by Independence and is probably moving his guys up here. So yeah, nobody has fire gems that they want to trade with me. Oh, one more thing about the siege over here is you may be thinking, well, how are you going to reinforce these guys if you're under siege? Well, the thing is, in case you don't know this, my stealthy units, which are my Valkyries and obviously my commanders here, they can move into this province and then immediately defend the castle. So I can reinforce this castle even while it's under siege, as long as I'm only using things like vans and Valkyries. Einheirs, that won't work because they're visible, so that would end up being an attack province command if I did it. So that's, I think, finally we're done talking about that. Over here, we're building the fortress. We're going to complete this fortress. We're going to complete the roads up here. Let's see, what other movement have we got? We're just hanging out over here and here and here. Tortuga, I think, is going to end Asphodel, and that's too bad. We'll see what message Marcus sends me in the next round, if he sends me one. And let's see. Yeah, we're just continuing again, moving into territory, and I think that basically does it. Like I said, we were all starving for fire gems, and I can't get anybody. I can't get any from anybody, so I'm gonna have to do alchemy. But I'm gonna delay it as much as I can. I want Fafnir to go right into research when he gets into this castle. Or actually, I may do one turn of site searching with him because we haven't site searched Earth and water, and Fafnir has 9 and 4. So if there's an Earth or a water site in here, he'll find it. And that will increase my gem income, and maybe something more too, who knows. Well, like I said, lastly, let's look at recruitment. So I'm switching off of crossbowmen into Einheirs. I've already told you how I feel about the crossbowmen as being kind of iffy for this battle against Agartha, because I may end up just shooting my own glamour units and doing no damage to Agartha, but they are armor piercing, so who knows. They could take down the stone hurlers and stuff like that. We'll see if I use them or not. The guys I won't be using at all will be these archers. And next turn I'll decide who I'm going to move out of this castle and who I'm going to move in. So that's why nobody's moving, everybody's researching. Is that next turn is when I'm going to be ferrying troops back and forth. Troops that I don't want to have here maintaining the castle walls, I'm going to move over to Vanheim. And then I'm going to move troops in Vanheim over here into a main as much as possible. Well, and also from up here and down here, just so that we can get these castle walls built up as much as possible. And that includes, what am I going to do with all of these frickin' 30 crossbowmen, plus, like, I'm going to get another one. I may move them in here. We'll see. That's for next turn. Let's see. This guy here is moving into Blue Beauty. We're still patrolling over here. And that, I believe, is that. Did I show the magic sites we've come under, that have come under our control? Over here we got the Mist-Covered Highlands is producing 1 air gem. Thank you very much. Frozen Lands, water gems, as if I needed more. Over here, nice thing is Caverns of Glowing Moss. Well, this is effectively 4 gems since I'm going to be committing alchemy to get fire gems. And then the Gorge, 1 earth gem. And then nice is to get the nature gems. The nice thing too is that I've taken away that gem income from Agartha for at least 1 turn. But if he takes this back at the beginning of the next turn, I won't get the fire gem from it. So, yeah. Anyway, that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you. I know it's been a long one. This is my second attempt trying to kind of say everything I need to. Lastly, over here, the Shark Knights, I'm recruiting less of them because I'm not using this army. So this army is just costing me upkeep. I will use this army if Agartha enters the water. I'll do my bestest to kick them out, but it's dubious. But yeah, indeed, I'm going to save my money and not recruit these sharks at the moment. So there we have it. One more look at the recruitment. I'm recruiting a Fabor, and I'm going to move him into a main as quickly as possible so that he can add to the castles, the fortifications supply storage for each round. That'll be 50 base units that I will always be able to feed. Maybe I should recruit another one. I don't know. We could. Shall we? Let's do it. So I'll send that revised turn in. So we're going to send in a couple of Fabors to help maintain the siege for as long as we can. I don't know. Like I said, the bottleneck is either going to be my fortress strength isn't high enough, or I don't have enough units to rebuild the fortress from these guys. So there you have it. All right. Like I said, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you in the next episode when things really get going. But hopefully we're entering the end game, and people are going to start falling over, and somebody's going to win. And, yeah, you know, hopefully me. But anyway, time will tell. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.